corpse to houses. You have reached Misty area. Houses. Wooden building. Now there's really nothing. Wall of mist. The wall of mist materialized behind Elian right after he entered here. But now that he's paying more attention to it, the shape is changing. A pair of huge arms come out of it. The lower part becomes more slender, and finally the part above becomes the head of a demon. He's watching Elian. His fangs and claws look sharp. He's a mist creature. A powerful and cold mist aura comes out of him. Elian prepares to fight the mist demon. The battle begins. The enemy is not shielded anymore. The enemy is shielded from attacks. The enemy is not shielded anymore. The enemy is shielded from attacks. The enemy is not shielded anymore. The enemy is shielded from attacks. The enemy is not shielded anymore. The enemy is shielded from attacks. The enemy is not shielded anymore. The enemy is shielded from attacks. The enemy is not shielded anymore. The enemy is shielded from attacks. The enemy is not shielded anymore. from attacks. The enemy is not shielded anymore. The enemy is shielded from attacks. The enemy is not shielded anymore. The battle ends. Alien gains 4,000 experience points. Double tap to... After a difficult battle, the demon finally dissolves, along with the mist from which he was formed. As Alien exchanged blows with the demon, he perceived a familiar power. But now it's clear. It was his power. The one which released the delay of death when he was on the verge of death and travelled along the forest. Apparently, the discharge of power was so intense that it fell on the place and merged with the mist. Now that Alien has killed the source, the mist won't expand any further, so he can warn the Lumberjack about that. To Houses 1, Wooden Building 4, Lumber, Wooden Build to the Misty Area Center. You have reached Misty Area Center. You opened the battle back. Game progress 91%. You're back in the map. Saving point. You saved the game. To the left part. You have reached Misty Area 1. To Misty Area Center. To Misty Area 4. You have reached Misty Area 4. Spectral haze. The battle begins. The battle ends. Alien gain.
Control center. Control center. Airplane mode. Switch button. Set mode. Count. Focus. Log. Text size. Selected. Screen recording. Button. Actions available. Direct touch area. Direct touch area.
To Misty Area 5. You have reached save. You say to Misty Area 6. You have reached to Misty. You have reached to the mountain, to the wooden house. You have reached save. You saved the game. The medical kit is empty. Tool. Bed. Extinguish. Lumberjack. Alien returns and tells the Lumberjack that the anomaly is resolved. He's really impressed and relieved, So he gives Elian 3 transfusion bags, which he converts into 3 blood vials. Elian accepts the reward with pleasure. To the the lumberjack thanks him again, since he doesn't have to abandon his house anymore. The lumberjack thanks him again, since he doesn't have to abandon his house anymore. You open game 92%. You're back in the extinguish to medical saving point. You saved the game. To the lumberjack, to the mountain pass. You have reached Mountain Pass entrance. To the wooden, to Misty lands. To the Mountain Pass. You have reached Mountain Pass northeast. Man-eater roots. Battle begin. The battle ends. Alien gain. Bloodsucker thorns. The battle The battle ends. Southwest exit. You have reached South Mount. You have to the waste mount. You have reached you saved the game. To outside, to the manor. You have reached Manor. East to the east. You to the underground Manor. You have saved you saved skinless zombie. The battle begins. The battle ends. Alien gains 1. To corridors, metal door. To corridors, metal. Alien unlocks the door with the prison key. That terrifying female moan came from here. You have 5 for Manor Underground. Prison.